Hi. So the inspiration behind outsourcing goes to one of my clients, or rather his wife. You see, one time we were meeting, it was the first time, it's what we call a meet and greet. It's where my wife and we offer a short session. It gives people who are interested in working with us a chance to meet us and ask us questions without any kind of obligation. And so we're talking for about 20 minutes. And when it's about time for it to end, he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, I got one more question. My wife wanted me to ask you this." No problem. Except for the question was, she wants to know how you define recovery. And I just kind of blinked for a moment. It's like, wait a minute. No one has ever asked me this question before. Is it one of those times where you kind of freeze and your brain is going real fast? That's what the experience was like for me, because I was like, I've done so many meet and greets. I've met so many men uh, in recovery. No one has ever asked me how I define recovery. It's just strange, that ironic that it's never happened. And so this guy has to suffer through something that I call when I'm trying to work through a problem, I have to talk through it. I have to reach my destination, but um, I go through and I voice the thing that I'm contemplating so I can hear myself and get to the next step. I'm it's sometimes not very short, so I'm sure I took up another 5 or 10 minutes of his time uh, going through what I'm going to abbreviate for you. It's in order to understand recovery, and I had to do this um, on the spur of the moment. I didn't have anything planned for this. Sometimes I hear the same questions and I know what I'm going to say. This is not one of those times. And this is how I started. I was like, okay, well, in order to understand recovery, you have to understand addiction, the thing it's trying to resolve. And you can point to any kind of source. You can point to the clinical source, like the ICD, the International Classification of Diseases. It describes it as an impulse control deficiency. And then, of course, it's got like a page load of characteristics that you have to follow in order to qualify for it. Or you can talk to any kind of professional in the field. They'll say something to the effect of um, behavior that's compulsive in nature, that involves relapse and to satiate cravings. And even though it resolves some kind of trouble in the short term, it has long term consequences. These are all common and perfectly viable. But as I was reflecting in real time, I was thinking, you know what? Hundreds of people I've met in my own recovery or in my profession, the one thing that is common is that we're all seeking something that's outside of us. It may be on a screen, it may be on a street corner, it may be through a window, um, and it doesn't have to be sexual addiction. It can be um, something that's outside of us, like alcohol or food or gambling or whatever it is, whatever that obsession is, a craving for it, it's outside. But the problem that's driving the craving is inside. And so I quickly came up with this thought that, you know, the thing is, we're trying to outsource something that really needs to be resolved inside of us. And if that's the way that I look at addiction, then recovery is just the opposite of that. It's insourcing. And not that this is easy to do. I spent many years in my addiction, never realized that I had internal dysregulation, something that was always disturbing inside of me. And I know now that what we're talking about is internalized shame. I had no idea of that concept, but that there's something inside of us that's creating these behaviors and the belief system that keeps us stuck into it. We first have to be aware that it's happening, and then we have to know how to resolve it and seek out ways to meet our needs that are healthy in nature. And once we're able to do that regularly, then the addiction just kind of fades away because our brain doesn't need it any longer. So thank you for my client and his wife for asking that question, because I've used that description many times since then. It is very easy to understand. There's only two things you have to know: something outside of you and something inside of you that's trying to resolve. And it is the inspiration behind this article.